Hello everyone, welcome to the Net Zero Energy Building Knowledge Series. I am Piyush Verma. I will be moderating today's informative session. The Net Zero Energy Building Knowledge Series is a platform for industry to share expertise and showcase projects, technologies, products and ideas that fuel discussion on building energy efficiency and grow in engagement for NZs. This entire initiative is supported by the Maitri program. This program has been funded by USAID. Maitri is an acronym for Market Integration and Transformation for Energy Efficiency. You can know more about this program on our website maitri.edsglobal.com. So today's webinar session is on one of the top two buildings across the world. The eFACiLiTY, a training center for software developers in Coimbatore in India. This provides a glimpse into smart, sustainable buildings of the future. It leverages cutting-edge automation, IoT, and innovative strategies to maximize daylighting, reduce cooling loads, and operate on-site power systems optimally. With 103 out of a possible 104 points, the eFACiLiTY shows us paths to high performance buildings and probably also net zero buildings. Our speakers of the day are Mr. Giridhar and Mr. Tarab. They will also take your questions at the end. Please type your questions in the chat window through the webinar. We will collate them and put them to the panel at the end. So for today's webinar, Mr. Giridhar will begin with an overview. Then Mr. Tarab will fill in between with a detailed presentation on features of the building, and Mr. Giridhar will come back to talk more about smart facilities that are there in the building. So, before passing over to Mr. Giridhar, I'll just give a brief introduction. Mr. Giridhar is a CEO and Managing Director of Sierra ODC Private Limited, which is a 20-year-old software company located at Coimbatore. Mr. Giridhar is a techie. He's a creator of the eFACiLiTY, which is a product which is leading computer-aided facility management software that integrates with all popular building management systems. It is also one of the most preferred tools for many facility management companies, smart and green buildings, and several corporates globally. So, Mr. Giridhar, over to you.
Thank you, Piyush. We feel highly privileged for getting this opportunity. So my thanks and warm welcome to all the attendees. First, this is our vision for our green building, to be always a high-performing and healthy green building leading to a sustainable future. Before getting into the details, I want to share with you our story on how we got into this. So in 2007, I had the opportunity to visit Pacific Controls Dubai, the first LEED Platinum building in the entire Middle East and 16th worldwide. So at that time, my knowledge on green buildings was limited to use of solar power. But as I was touring the building, I understood a lot of things, from all the green aspects to automation. That inspired me a lot, and that day I decided that when we build our own development center, we should build it green and automated. So 8 years later, when we started planning our construction, we found that at Coimbatore, our city, it's the Tier 2 city, we just had 2 green rated buildings, one by Dell and another by Cognizant, and both were LEED Gold certified. So our initial aim was to be the Coimbatore's first LEED Platinum building. So our green building consultant, Mr. Yusuf Turab, who is my co-presenter here, made a plan for achieving about 85 points against the total 110, considering what is feasible for us to achieve, 5 beyond what is needed for the platinum rating. So I have a bad habit of poking my nose into everything small and big. So once we started this initiative, I got to read about some of the lead credits and was also questioning Yusuf on many aspects. So while doing this is when I realized that every single credit requirement was making a perfect sense to implement, and that was a lot that could benefit us. There was a lot that could benefit us greatly in reducing operational costs and, more importantly, occupant health. So this triggered our quest to implement every single aspect with respect to the LEED criteria, and we even went beyond implementing many other aspects that we thought would do good for the health of our employees and the environment. So the result, today we are ranked the world's second highest ranking LEED NC version 2009 building, and we also got rated in the IGBC Green New Building rating as the India's highest ranking building. So you may ask why we didn't try to become the #1 building. As you see in this list, this is the top 7 LEED NC buildings where this is the top scoring buildings, and the first one you will see is the Pixel from Carlton, Australia, is the world #1 building with 105 points. So basically, we lost 6 points straight for building and material reuse being a completely new construction, whereas Pixel was a reconstructed building. So we also lost 1 point on FSC certified wood due to documentation issues. So this is our LEED NC scorecard, where you can see that it's 103 of 110, and 6 points straight away we lost for material reuse and 1 point for certified wood. So this is our IGBC Green New Building score, which is of 93 out of 100. Again, the building was following the specs of the LEED criteria, whereas the IGBC Green New Building criteria was slightly different. And also, we couldn't, because after 1.5 to 2 years of construction, then we went in for this rating, and so we didn't have some documentation readily available. But still, today we are the India's highest ranking green building under the Green New Building rating under IGBC.
So, thank you, Mr. Giridhar, for this quick overview. It's been a splendid journey from the numbers, I'm sure. And who made it possible was Mr. Turab. So, Mr. Turab is the managing director at Inhabitat and Buildscape, the sustainability services provider. Mr. Turab is passionate about tapping smart systems for enhancing building performance. He was the green consultant behind this pioneering project. So over to Mr. Turab now.
Thank you, Piyush, for your kind words and a nice introduction. It is such a pleasure to join you all this afternoon. As Piyush said, me and my team were involved during the green building facilitation process for LEED and the IGBC ND rating that we went for afterwards. It's been an absolute privilege for us to be involved with such a prestigious project. And we are now, the same building, also going for the WELL rating system as well. And I'll talk a little bit about the WELL rating and the process that we are going through right now as I speak about the various aspects of the building during my presentation. So here we go. Right. So we essentially followed the LEED framework during our entire process. We always believe that obviously you don't need a rating system to go green. You can go green without a rating system, but having a framework in place just makes things easier, lets you set targets, and also allows the clients to ensure that they are getting what they are aiming for. So, starting off with materials, some of the green materials that we used were EcoSan, AAC blocks. The entire construction is an AAC block assembly. Some of the cladding in one of the facades is Fundamax, which has 65% recycled content. And there is also extensive use of fly ash bricks. I'll tell you how we went about doing it in a future slide. And also there are other materials, cement, steel, glass, and false ceiling, where we had industry standard recycled content. So overall, we were able to meet about 21% of our material content was recycled, and we scored all the available points here. So coming to the regional materials, close to 80% of our materials we've managed to procure locally. Coimbatore being fairly centrally located in Tamil Nadu, so we had, we were fairly comfortable procuring materials within 400-kilometer range. So close to 80% of our materials were locally manufactured. Somewhere where we did really exceptionally well, I thought, was construction waste reuse and recycling. What happened here was a lot of our construction waste was essentially cement mortar and waste flash bricks and AAC blocks. Because the building was risen about 3 feet from the road level, a lot of that we managed to reuse for filling purposes itself. Some of it also went for filling on our bathrooms and things like that. So most of our materials, that waste that we generated, the civil waste that we generated on site, we could just reuse quite easily on site itself. And a lot of our other packaging waste were sold to a local recycler. Coming to the wood, we essentially used most of the furniture in the building was plywood. There was a little bit of MDF used for some furniture items, which is why you see a 3.15% of rapidly renewable materials. So most of it was the MDF wood that we used from Bajaj Eco Board. And all the plywood that we used was 100% FSC certified. If I'm not wrong, this was from Century Ply. Some of the things that we've done with regards to the building envelope was the first one was the walls. Most of the walls in eFACiLiTY, in fact, all the walls are close to 16 inches thick. Conventional being 9 inches, we went for almost double the thickness. There were two reasons for this. One is the architect did not want the pillars, the columns to be thin. And so we thought, okay, let's just go for a thicker wall instead of going for any expensive insulation. So most of the wall is a combination of flash bricks for about 8 inches and AAC blocks for the remaining 8 inches. Which gives us a fantastic insulation value as well. The entire roof is, of course, a cool roof. Well, most of the roof is covered by solar panels. Whatever we have available has been coated with cool roof or a roof garden. And for insulating the roof assembly, we used foam concrete. We did not go for foam insulation. We somehow thought foam concrete would work better in our scenario, and it really did, and we're really happy with the results we have. High performance glass, here we did a lot of analysis. I think selecting the glass alone took us close to a month, because it was a little difficult for us to optimize the daylighting and energy efficiency. This being an IT building, we did not want too much daylighting, because almost everybody is just working on a computer and not anything else. We didn't want excessive daylighting, but at the same time, we needed the right amount of energy efficiency. After a lot of back and forth analysis, we finally selected techie ST136, which is cool light, if I'm not wrong. So it has a fairly low visual light transmitter, but in spite of the low VLT, we were just about meeting our right. Moving on to the air conditioning. So again, air conditioning wasn't so difficult, because from the very get-go, we knew that the most suitable system for this building would be a VRF system. The only confusion we really had here was whether we should go for water-cooled VRF or air-cooled VRF. Both me and Giridhar, we did some research on it, and of course water-cooled VRF was the more efficient one. But at the time of design, we weren't 100% certain about the water availability in the area. And in hindsight, actually, that was the right decision. Water is a big problem in Coimbatore. So we decided to go for air-cooled VR systems as part of our business continuity plan, because this being an IT building, we simply cannot have even a few hours of air conditioning not working due to water unavailability and things like that. So in air-cooled chiller at that time, I think LG had the most efficient air-cooled VRF, which was at 13.85 energy efficiency ratio, and we went for it, and we're fairly happy with the entire system now. Moving on, as I mentioned, the glass selection did take us almost a month of analysis. Finally, we did achieve 86% daylight. And if you visit the building, you will find that it's not very bright, it's not highly daylit, but I think it's sufficient to work on a computer. And I think most people are quite happy. So the analysis went really well there. And of course, 100% of the lighting is LED lighting. So I was just checking this morning. It turns out that we've achieved a lighting power density of 2.25 watts per square meter, which even now is actually a fairly good lighting power density to achieve. eFACiLiTY, as many might already know, is a 100% carbon neutral building. So how we achieve carbon neutrality is not because it is a net zero building. It's not a net zero building. Only about 64 to 65% of our overall energy use is catered through the rooftop solar, which is about 64 kilowatts. And the balance 30 to 35%, we have purchased renewable energy certificates, which was also a part of the LEED requirement, and we did score points for that, and making it a overall carbon neutral building. And we continue to do that now, since the building is now 2 years old and the certificates are expired. So we continue to procure renewable energy certificates every 2 years to ensure that the carbon neutrality is maintained all the time. Coming to the energy metering, I would say that this aspect of eFACiLiTY is one of the is actually the pride of the building. Every aspect of the building is measured, whether we talk about the lighting, the solar energy generation, the HVAC, all of these have individual meters, and we are able to track the energy consumption in real time. Most of it is also available online, and we are able to take quick decisions on why something is consuming more power than it should. So this is something that is really differentiating the building right now, and we are able to do these kind of presentations purely because we have so much data available with us. So energy metering has worked really well for us. One of the inspired implementations was, of course, the BIPV, which is nothing but building integrated photovoltaic. So obviously, this is not a green building requirement at all. It's just an idea that the management had, mainly Giridhar, that we should why not use our facades as well, because we had completely run out of roof space for solar, and we wanted more solar. So it was an idea that was floated to use BIPV. So at the time, I think this was imported from Spain from a company called Onyx Solar, and we have about 3.2 kilowatts of BIPV integrated into the building. I would admit that the energy generation isn't spectacular, but we do generate close to 4 to 5 units of power a day from the BIPV. One of the prides of our building has been the energy metering, and a lot of that has been automated as well. So eFACiLiTY has managed to achieve 100% automation of all equipment. Whether you talk about I think one of the most wow automations in the building is of course the blinds. So the blinds are automatically controlled, which through a tracking device that we put on the roof. So the tracking device tracks the movement of the sun from the east to west, and the blinds open and close automatically based on the placement where the sun is during that time of the day. So that has been quite a fantastic implementation, and most people we find are really impressed by that. Of course, there's a lot of other automation in solar. We have occupancy sensors. One more useful implementation of automation has been the automatic water spraying system that we have on the solar panels. So we have these irrigation sprinklers that we placed on the solar panel, which tracks the temperature of the sun. And coming to the overall outcome, all this automation and energy efficiency has brought about close to 64% reduction in energy costs compared to a conventional building in the LEED rating system. We have something like called the LEED Arc platform, which every LEED certified building is eligible to have. So we enter our energy, water, waste scores every day into the Arc platform, and we generate a result. So as of today, as of recently, our score is at 94%. So this shows that the building continues to operate as a green building and is meeting most of the design goals we had during the early phase of the project. The global average that you see is 83%. Now this 83% is essentially for the other buildings in the world that are implementing the ARC platform, which will essentially be LEED certified buildings only. So on the ARC platform, we have 31 out of the 33 available points. Moving on to transportation and parking. We pretty much implemented all the LEED suggestions here. We increased our two-wheeler parking. We provided bicycle parking. We really drastically reduced our car parking, solo car parking, and we have provisions for people who carpool as well. A few of the other things we do is we have a shuttle service, free shuttle service for the employees. There is an free electric charging points for employee vehicles, and there is reduced space for parking. So the design phase itself, we knew we wanted to. There isn't too much around the building to actually go out for, so we had to provide a lot of facilities in-house, and we wanted to ensure that we discourage too much movement of people during after work hours. So the gym and the cafeteria and indoor play area has been provided in-house, which has ensured that most people stay in-house and are not using the vehicles unnecessarily. One of the great implementations in this building has been the in-house dining. Of course, that has also ensured that there's limited movement of people, and we are providing good quality food in-house to reduce people movement. We also have subsidized housing available within a kilometer from the building. So most of the bachelors who are working at eFACiLiTY are provided with subsidized housing, and obviously most of them just walk to work. So tremendous savings achieved there. One-time green incentives have been provided to employees as well for shifting within 3-kilometer distance. The overall outcome. So of course, as we measure everything in this building, we measure this as well. We noticed that about 18% of all employees are walking to work. 36% are using public transport, 43% are using two-wheelers, and only 3% of the employees are using individual cars. So this, in our calculation, has helped us achieve annual carbon emission of 0.02 metric tons of carbon, whereas the global average, as you can see, is 0.85. So we are almost 40% lower than the global average. Coming to the ARC platform, so our transportation scores are plugged into the ARC platform, and you can see we achieved 91% score, the global average being 80%. So we've achieved 13 out of the available 14 points. So again, transportation is an area where I would say that we have exceeded our goals that we set out in the beginning. Water, yes. So water was always the most critical aspect, especially for projects in Coimbatore. We have severe water crisis year after year, and this was one of the things that we thought about first when we started thinking about going for a green building. So we have a lot of things happening in the building with regards to water, but the most important ones are, of course, we have waterless urinals. Every single urinal in the building is completely waterless. We have sensor-fitted taps, aerators for reduced flow, dual flush toilets, and all other fittings are very efficient as well. We also have very efficient dishwashers available in the kitchen. eFACiLiTY is a completely zero discharge development. So 100% of the water that lands on site is either collected through a rainwater harvesting storage tank, and the overflow is percolated into the ground. And we have a fantastic sewage treatment plant which was imported from Germany, which treats the wastewater, and all the treated wastewater is used for flushing and landscaping. And our landscape is drought tolerant as well. We have an automated irrigation system. There's an extensive use of sprinklers and drips, and it's completely automated. So we have a system which actually checks the soil moisture and the current temperature, whether it's raining or not, and it waters the garden automatically. There's absolutely no human intervention. Yeah, so our overall savings has been 81% on the LEED score. And I think one of the big achievements has been that the building is consuming close to 8.5 liters per person per day, whereas, as you know, the normal average uses 45 liters per person per day as per the National Building Code. We've achieved 82% in the overall LEED ARC score. Air quality, here we had quite a few strategies. Of course, we used non-toxic paints and chemicals, adhesives and sealants in the building. And we have a fantastic filtration system in the building. Here it says that it's a double filter, but it's actually a triple filter. We have a MERV 13, MERV 7 and a MERV 6 filter into our fresh air system. So it's a triple filter there. We have implemented some of the LEED suggestions of having a walking over metallic mat for 10 feet, and we have plenty of indoor plants to purify the indoor air. All cleaning products used in the building are 100% chemical free. So we use products certified by Green Pro, IGBC Green Pro from the care range, and it's all green non-toxic cleaners that are being used. Of course, demand control ventilation is in place. So through our building automation systems, we have live monitoring of CO2, VOCs, PM 2.5 and PM10, and the ventilation system is controlled based on that. Those readings. So every time the CO2 goes above 800 ppm, the ventilation, the air intake is automatically increased. As I said, we have live monitoring for PM levels, CO2 and TBOC. So if any of the parameters exceed our thresholds, automatic alerts are generated and the reports are sent to the facility management team, and appropriate action is always taken. So we've managed to achieve all these efforts have borne fruit, and we've managed to achieve very good indoor air quality. Most of the time, our PM 2.5 levels are always below 10 micrograms per cubic meter, and PM 10 levels rarely exceed 15 micrograms per cubic meter. CO2 is always maintained below 900 ppm, and VOCs are always below 400 parts per billion. On the ARC score, we've achieved 97%. As you can see, we've done fantastically well as far as the air quality is concerned. And this is one of the reasons why we are also going for the well rating, because we just think that the building is doing tremendously well as far as the overall air quality and wellness performance is concerned. So eFACiLiTY is also aiming to score close to 100 points in the WELL rating system and become India's first platinum rated WELL certified building. Moving on to waste, of course, it being an IT building, there is not much waste generation anyways. We've gone a step ahead. We've declared it as a paperless office. So you will find that there is absolutely no paper anywhere, whether it's in the bathrooms, and there's very limited printing as well. There are no plastics used at all. 100% of the organic waste is converted to manure. So we have a functional kitchen on the top floor. All the waste that's generated, which is very less, by the way, is converted to manure. We have a waste segregation facility on site. Right. So one of the things that we did was through the eFACiLiTY software system itself, we have completely automated the canteen management. So every morning, the employees actually log into their eFACiLiTY app and they book their meal. So meals are cooked only for the number of bookings received. So this has ensured that there is actually no food wastage at all. There is very, very little food wastage because we're just cooking the right amount of food because we have a pre-booking system in place. Waste, of course, the building is doing tremendously well. We have achieved the full 100% and we're getting 8 out of 8 in our LEED ARC score. So an interesting stat is that as per our measurement last year, we've generated about 360 grams of waste per person per year. So that's all the waste that has gone into the landfill in the entire year. Occupant wellness, as I said, everything that we did from the beginning of the project was mainly for the occupants and to ensure the wellness of the occupants, and that's why we are also going for the well rating system. So of course we have a good amount of daylight, 97% natural views as well. Very low PM levels, very low CO2 levels, and optimum humidity is ensured all the time. We have a few programs that we run. One of them is, of course, promoting staircase use. There are yoga classes being conducted. There are stress management activities. There are a lot of mental health professionals being called as and when required. So, occupant wellness and health and well-being is a top priority for the management at eFACiLiTY. The thicker walls and the glass panels have ensured a reasonably good acoustic comfort. This was one of the results of using the 16-inch thick walls. There is absolutely no noise inside the building at all. So we of course have a in-house cafeteria. A lot of the food actually is grown on the terrace itself. So we have an organic kitchen garden on the terrace. So some of the food comes from there, and it's 100% organic. The other drop in employees taking off for health reasons. So there has clearly been improvements in the health of employees after we moved into this new facility. It's something that we are noticing. Of course, there's reduced attrition levels because employees are feeling far more motivated working in an all-class facility like this. Thank you, everybody. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you for listening to me. And I'll hand over now to Giridhar.
Thanks a lot, Yusuf. So getting on to smart facility management. Smart facility management is all about ensuring that everything is automated when it comes to facility management. And we have predictive maintenance, asset management, energy and utilities management, smart building controls, access control, time and attendance, visitor management, space planning, facility reservation automation, tenant billing. Of course, we don't use tenant billing because we occupy this building. Indoor environmental quality management, waste management, cafeteria management, and so on. So most of these things have been implemented in this facility, and it's operating fully automated operation is happening. So like the first I've listed only a few things which may be of good interest to everyone. So the first one is the sun tracking blind control system. Basically, like the green building norms don't talk about curtains and blinds usage and things like that. So generally it's spec'd nicely, but then once companies occupy, then there are blinds installed, and that actually reduces the natural views and daylight coming into the building. But with the SOMFI sun tracking system, based on the sun's current position, the blinds get adjusted automatically. So that way you get maximum daylight inside the building while controlling the heat gain, and it provides 100% daylight and natural views as well. Going to lighting again, we find like a lot of companies using occupancy sensors, but what we did was like we automated most of this, and apart from the occupancy sensors, we also use lux-based management of the individual lighting. People have ability to control the amount of lux level they need, and accordingly the lights are operated, the occupancy sensors are switched on. So today 62.5% is fully automated, and so like for toilets it's all fully occupancy based, whereas the stairway, pathway, and reception, cabins and other areas, it's occupancy and lux based. So only when the lux levels goes below a particular level, then the occupancy sensor starts. So again, that's a new thing which we implemented. And the building is this one area like where 100% whatever you will think of in doing a building automation integration, we've done it. And the main objective being like any failures are detected by the BMS systems, and the failures are picked up by the software within a few seconds, and then the failure related work orders are generated and sits in the hands of the technicians or contractors who are supposed to fix it. So this process ensures that when one unit of air conditioning system, outdoor air conditioning system fails, so even before the occupants of the building become aware of it, like work order is sitting in the hands of the technician for him to go fix it. So we also have a fully automated facility booking system. This actually helps a lot in reducing the unmonitored air conditioning being switched on and lighting being switched on. Here with this system, based on the bookings, the software automatically will after a grace time switch off all the electromechanical equipment there. And so that way, like if there is no human intervention there, and so it also switches on the aircons and lightings, aircon before 10 minutes to bring the facility to the right temperature. So it's fully automated, and people don't check in, then automatically it switches off as well. So this ensures that there is no unmonitored usage. We also have a fully automated visitor management system. This again for tracking all the people moving inside the building. And the energy dashboards is a very key component for all green buildings, because the energy dashboards are generally displayed in common areas and receptions and all these areas, so that everyone are in a position to see that. Apart from showing the energy and water utilization data, it also shows the indoor air quality parameters and outdoor parameters, and how much carbon emissions are happening, and what how much plants, trees can be saved because the reduction in carbon emission and all this. So the advantage with this is, like, once people are aware what kind of CO2 level should exist inside the building, and what levels of PM 2.5 or 10 levels are good. So when they get educated, then everyone starts seeing this, and when things go bad, immediately it gets escalated. Including the top CEO of any organization is able to watch this. So this keeps the facility management teams on their toes to ensure that everything is in order. Because today, for power saving, people switch off air handling units, or really don't monitor many things. But once the systems are directly connected and displayed in the front office, then automatically everything has to run in perfection, which will ensure that optimal energy management is happening. We also have an instant feedback kiosk, because this is built for the purpose that we always find when there is a leaky taps, or like there are problems in a toilet or any other common area. People don't take the interest to go and raise a call or report to the right people and all that. But if we have a feedback system which is installed just outside the toilets and common areas, people may just go and with one click they'll be able to give a feedback, and that will automatically raise the help desk request or work order request and goes to the technician, so that things get attended to quickly. So that in terms of water leakage or improper usage of things are completely arrested. The next thing is the smart building controls, which actually, again, if you notice, so like though the building is fully automated in terms of the lighting and all equipment management, in case some people want to override, they have provision to override for enhanced comfort. But when they switch on an additional light and aircon, they are forced to choose how long it should be on, because if they forget, then automatically the system will switch it off, and so they're forced to select a particular time. This is a call request view. So we have all the help desk calls that are generated against the building, where they can visually see in the flow plan. This for the benefit of the facility managers. This is something which you implemented first time in the world, I believe. So it's a demand control DG set operation. Basically, what we find is in large buildings, like whenever the power goes off, then the DG set automatically kicks in and starts providing the backup power. But this continues even during weekends and holidays and things like that, and so this results in too much of wastage of energy, and then thereby the CO2 emissions. So in our case, our system monitors because we have good capacity uninterrupted power supply, which can take care of the servers and desktops and things like that, and like it can run for about 1 hour, 2 hours continuously without backup power. So like the automation in our case, like it monitors the UPS battery levels, server room temperature, outside occupied space temperature, humidity, CO2 levels, PM levels, and all this, and accordingly decides to switch on the DG set only when it needs to operate the air conditioner and other equipment. And the same way, like after the genset gets switched off, maybe say half an hour after the power shutdown and things like that, it runs for an hour or so. And then once the good levels are reached, indoor levels are reached, battery levels are reached, then automatically the DG set gets switched off automatically. So this we found that it is in case when we have a power shutdown between 8 to 10 hours, our DG set runs only for maximum 4 hours. So this results in a good amount of CO2 emission reduction. This is another first thing we've implemented. We have smart IoT buttons installed across the building. So this is really one-touch facility management in working condition. So these buttons, people can just, there are stickers notifying what these buttons are for. And the people, when they go to a toilet, then they see a leaky tap, they can just press this button and then the call gets raised immediately. So it's one-touch facility management implemented. It can also be used for controlling some electromechanical devices, ordering of consumables, on-demand instant data generation, meeting room operations, work order generation. All this can be managed using this. So more innovations. So we also have the PA system integrated. So our PA system plays energy or water utilization data, whether we did good or bad every day, so that this to create the awareness among the people and motivate them to save more. We also have access-based equipment control for energy saving. That is common areas. When 4 people occupy a common area, then the lighting and switching off of the lighting or switching on the lighting happens based on their access control. That is once they enter the building only. So as you see, it's a fully automated building. So we have implemented almost everything what generally people consider implementing with building automation integration. So something specific to talk about, we do solar panel cleaning and cooling using the building automation system. So we have a sensor on the solar panels which reports the temperature of the solar panels, because the solar panels, once it reaches a particular temperature, it starts losing the efficiency for every degree of rise. So like if once in a while, if these solar panels are cooled, then automatically your efficiency improves. So we implemented that. And we have done the complete water cycle is automated. So there is absolutely no human intervention. Even our gates are motorized and operated automatically. So fire alarms, fault detection. So a lot of things have been automated completely. So before closing, I just want to leave a couple of important aspects that may be of interest to you. We often hear that green buildings are expensive to build, but actually in our case, we saved a lot on the capital cost, since the design optimization of daylighting, building insulation, natural views, automation, and all this resulted in reduction in air conditioning capacity and lighting loads by about 50% in our case, and also huge reduction in the energy demand as well. So with tight budgets, we could achieve all this. We spent extra only on the automation part and some technology demonstrators like BIPV panels and all that, SOMFI, sun tracking and all that. Since we wanted to make this as a demonstration building for our facility management software as well. So we strongly feel just by employing the right strategies and enough awareness, without spending more, any building can be built to meet the gold rating level. This means every single corporate building in India can go green. The second important aspect I feel is the awareness of the project owners, more specifically with respect to self-occupying buildings, is completely missing, which with respect to the health benefits of the green buildings, because I got involved, so I knew the benefits of the health benefits of the green buildings, and so I dedicated myself to do it to the maximum extent possible. So I'm sure if the long-term health, productivity, and other benefits are fully known to the investors, there will be rapid adaptation of the green building standards. So this brings to the end of the presentation from my side. Just want to share before I leave that our building has so far been visited by about 5,500 people, which includes industry experts, general public, school and college students. And we regularly conduct these tours, and anyone wanting to visit our building are welcome anytime. We also have a website called www.greenestbuilding.com, in which we have a 20-minute video that explains what all has been done to go green. And please watch the same when time permits. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Girdhar and Mr. Turok. This was an exciting presentation. It's like given a glimpse of the next generation buildings. Um, and I think it not only showcases the integration of design, but also active monitoring through embedded systems, which are necessary for both designing and maintaining a high performance building. So thank you very much. I think this has been quite an engaging session. We have a few questions. Um, so, uh, I will just ask these questions, and any of you gentlemen would like to take this, please go ahead. So the first question is, operating a green building has several challenges. What has been your learning experience from operating and maintaining the building? Maybe Mr. Girdhar could answer that.
Yes, actually, when we said everything we wanted to be automated, we had lots of concerns from even the people who do the automation. And but fortunately, the building has been up and running for the last 2.5 years, and we used a very good, even the sensors. Many of the sensors we have used are all locally bought and very low cost. And but trust me, like it's been fantastic. So I'll be very happy to share all the products used in our building and what has been working good. And if there is any problem, also I'll be able to share the data freely. But the summary is the automation has really helped us to manage the building very effectively. And the monitoring again, I again reinstate that the lead requirements are extremely good. And when we understand these requirements and do things which can actually manage these requirements properly, then automatically the building performance will be fantastic. So our experience has been great on this.
Great. So I think next one, maybe Mr. Thurup could answer this. So what were the metrics used to validate daylight? Did you look at useful daylight index or any other metrics? Could you please elaborate on that?
The UDI for most of the work calculations. At that time, I think LEED version 3, the UDI they accepted was 120 lux to 2000 lux. So 86% of the floor area is within that useful daylight.
So, how are you maintaining your solar panels? Are there any irrigation sprinklers or anything happening there?
So we have an automated sprinkler system, which actually every day morning 6:30 and evening 6:30, the actuator is switched on and it does the washing. And then, like as I already said, that we have this, a panel temperature sensor, which actually again switches on the sprinkler system whenever the temperature goes up by beyond the set point. So this may make sure the panels are maintained cool and it's also clean. But we still do require manual cleaning once in a while, because when it is too windy, then we have too much of dust and the sprinkler is not able to fully clean it 100%.
Very interesting. Next question is, so the audience wants to know what type of sewage treatment plant was used in this facility.
It's called a sequencing batch reactor system, and 2.5 years we have done one time, a tank cleaning, and other than that, we've just not touched the system. It's been running automated in an automated board mode 100%. It's from a company called Claro. I think there is an Indian local distributor as well. So it's a sequencing batch reactor type of sewage treatment plant.
All right. So great. So another question: were there any software used to analyze facades for solar photovoltaic or anything during the design process?
Actually, the company Onyx Solar, they actually helped us design this, and we took the east and west orientation because we didn't have a good facade, whereas north the utility is less, and so actually they used some software to calculate. We were not involved in that calculation. Only our architect was involved in the design, but then the calculations were done by Onyx Solar.
So, so are there? So have you had chance to calculate the EPIs of the building, say without renewables and after renewables so far?
Yes, actually, quite recently. So the energy performance index the building is achieving right now is about 31.5 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. So which is quite good, I would say. And I think with so that's without solar being calculated.
Yeah.
So with solar, we are about down to about 18 kilowatt hours per square meter per year.
I mean, you're actually meeting the nearly zero or the new net zero definition that the Bureau of Energy Efficiency is making.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's fantastic. Um, Let me look for other questions as well. So I think to both Mr. Turub and Mr. Girdhar, what were the cost implications of the automation?
Okay, the building automation system for implementing for this kind of a building, the costs on the hardware and software is not very expensive, but then the implementation we had a bit of challenges because the amount of automation that we wanted to do, we had challenges getting the right people. But I wouldn't say it's actually not a big cost compared to the benefits it provides. But then the other areas like the form fees and tracking, again, we said that we thought it is a beautiful system and so we implemented. So that was pretty expensive because everything is getting imported. So BMS per se, there is not, it's not something not very big. Actually, I would say it hardly was about, 4-5% of the total building cost, I would say.
Yeah, so you were also saying that, making a green building is actually not as expensive as is believed to be. And
Yes.
it's, so I mean, what probably you're trying to say, if I may rephrase that, all these systems have a very, have a payback which is palatable to the building owner.
And the main point I wanted to make there was like, see, a building like this, when we go for construction, the kind of capacities which the vendors provide is, as well as consultants provide, is generally much higher than the optimum need. The reason is the vendor wants to sell more, and the consultant doesn't want to actually want anything to fail, because after doing something, if it is insufficient, then it's a problem. So they generally do good amount of buffering when it comes to lighting load, UPS calculations, or HVAC calculations. Generally, we found that there's a lot of buffering done. But then once we insulate the building nicely and do all the improvements needed and all that stuff, then because when the moment we said we have to get maximum points in energy, then there was a lot of pressure on the consultant to provide something which is actually meeting the requirements what Yusuf gave them. And so ultimately we had taken quotes initially for a particular system, and then finally, like when all the calculations were done, then we found that directly on HVAC and lighting, there was a 50% reduction on the load, on the capacity. And so that actually saved us a lot on the capital costs, which we spent on other things like automation and other things. But I cannot 100% commit if it works the same way for large buildings. But for buildings of our size, which is about a 25,000 square foot building, which with a air conditioned space of about 18,638, we really feel that capacities have been really optimized, and so that gave us a huge saving on the capital costs. So obviously the ROI in terms of operational costs will be definitely very high because we have very low power costs, very low water costs, and even maintenance has been pretty low because of the kind of automation done.
Well, thank you. I think there's still more questions, and we are unfortunately running out of time. I would thank both Mr. Girdhar and Mr. Thurup again for this wonderful presentation. It's quite a pioneering effort, and we hope to learn from this. And I hope you will get more queries from all the participants in the next few days.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
thank you,
yeah,
it was a pleasure to do this.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Piyush. Just I want to say that anyone needing any kind of data, we are very open to share, and we'll be, anytime anybody can mail us and we can share the data what they need.
Thank you. So a few announcements. There are a few more NZEB activities happening. We have a webinar on 27th September. This is SDE4, a building on campus in University of Singapore. And we have a few NZEB tours, one in Greater Noida and one in Hyderabad. So the one in Greater Noida is just 2 days from now, it's on the 14th. Now, I would really encourage all of you to sign up on nzeb.in. It will be really helpful. Okay, we're trying to just open the website for you all, but it's not really working. Anyway, so there's also a monthly newsletter which you can sign up. So the advantage is you do get to know what is happening and you get to know what the new webinars are. So please do sign in and subscribe to these newsletters. There is also a daylighting course that we are talking about here. So this course has been curated by experts at Environmental Design Solutions. This course is available on education platform Udemy. There's a coupon code on the screen in front of you. Please avail this. Yeah, so that's all. I hope you enjoyed today's session. A recording of this video will be uploaded and you can access all this information through nz.in. So we hope to see you next for the next webinar. Thank you everyone for dialing in today. Thank you. Goodbye.